Hello, and welcome to Cinema Therapy, the podcast for people who know nothing about life, but all about film and TV. I'm Karen.
And I'm Nicole.
Happy Sunday.
Yes, it's Oscar Sunday.
It is Oscar Sunday.
This is the Sunday I care about, not the one that happened a few weeks ago. Really excited for today's show. It's time for the Hostless Oscars. In honor of our favorite award show, we're going to be discussing the nominated movies, placing our bets, and to join us in all this cinematic fun is Mez Meseret.
Hi, how you guys doing? I'm really happy to be on.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. It's so nice to see your little face in my phone.
Thanks for joining us. Where are you right now?
I am in glorious, well, just outside of our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., here in Northern Virginia.
Yes.
So, and Nicole can tell me, can fill you in on who am I.
Well, yes. So I met Mez in law school. It was actually a really adorable story. So we were in this orientation, and they were saying all the languages that the people in our class spoke. And I heard Tigrinya, and that's the one of the main languages in Eritrea. And my ears perk up. I'm like, wait, I know I didn't say I can speak Tigrinya because I sure can't. I know that there's someone else in this class that's Eritrean. And I remember being at the bar, Brothers, later that day, and I see Mez, his handsome self, just walking across, and I'm like, wait, hi, you're Eritrean, aren't you? And yes, and that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, that was like the first maybe day or 2 days into law school. So ever since then we've been, friends, and basically.
Yeah,
and since the beginning we always have discussed our love of prestige TV and movies.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are.
We've always admired each other's tastes in TV and movies. He always made a point to watch all of the, or as many of the awarded or nominated films around award season. And I always appreciated that. I was like, yes, with your bougie taste. I love it. So happy to have you on so you can share all of your insight. Mez is one of the smartest people I know, and I love his opinions, and I think he's just going to be great for this show today. So happy to have you on. So happy you could be cast through the magic of technology. So thank you.
Yes, thanks for being here. Nicole spoke very highly of you, so I'm very excited to have another fellow movie buff.
Yes.
Well, I feel honored to just be invited and to have this conversation. Like, not as many people as you would think are like serious movie buffs. So, to really to dive deep into this, I'm really excited.
Love it. Perfect. Okay, let's start about it. So, how are we feeling about this year's Oscar ceremony? I'm feeling like, I like the fact that Queen is starting, to be honest. I've never seen Adam Lambert as the head of Queen. I feel like that's new news to me. I didn't realize that was a thing. But when I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, I was feeling all the Queen music. I've been listening to a lot of their music recently, so I'm excited about that. But I really wish Kevin Hart could have gotten together and just apologized so he could have been
honest. Man, yeah.
Not happy about that.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know much about the whole Kevin Hart scandal. I'm glad that it's hostless. I'm really glad that it's hostless this year.
How did you miss that?
I knew stuff was happening. I knew he was set to host it. I'm not a big Kevin Hart fan.
Okay.
So I just didn't think
it was
twice.
just like big in the, Hollywood sphere.
What does he have to, what was he?
So there were tweets from maybe 9 years ago. Do you remember, Mez?
Yeah. It was like tweet and some of his comedy from like 9-10 years ago.
Right. There were some bits that they would show where he would make light of the idea of his son maybe being gay, and if that happened, how he would, smack him or beat him up or whatever in a comedic tone. But like looking back at those comments, like that's inappropriate. It doesn't make people who are both gay and black feel safe in their community, making them feel like their sexuality is not being accepted. So I just feel like, just apologize. I think he was just kind of coming from the situation as like a really economically privileged person who is like, I'm winning. Can y'all just let me win? I feel like that's how he approached the whole situation.
And I think the other thing is that like to play devil's advocate, I do agree he should have just apologized. But he says like I already addressed these issues previously, and he feels like people just brought those tweets and those that show up because of his being chosen to be the host. Yeah. And I kind of understand like you don't want to ever, but the thing is you're clearly in the wrong. And I think if you're a gay person and if you're a black gay person, these are real wounds that you feel. So
for sure.
Just say sorry is not asking too much, and to let people know that that's not me. I don't support that. It's not too much to ask, in my opinion. But
I agree, because I guess like if he actually explicitly like wrote out an apology or gave a speech or did something to show that he was aligned with the efforts in the gay community, then I would be okay with it. It was the fact that he was just like, I'm not going to include that into my comedy anymore, and didn't really put any more context to that. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like
no, you're right. Yeah,
it was just kind of like, I'm not doing that in my comedy, and that's cool, but it doesn't show that you've changed your heart or you've changed the way that you're approaching this community. And if I'm a fan of Kevin Hart, who's black and gay, or an ally of someone who's black and gay, I'm not okay with that. I just feel like he was being, I don't know.
He was being stubborn.
Baby. He was being a baby.
Yeah. And the thing is as you were saying, he didn't, it's one thing to say, I'm not going to do this. It's another thing to say you understand why people are hurt by it. Like the fact that there's real violence done to people who are marginalized in the black community and the gay community. And if you don't get it, then people are like going to, look at you with a side eye. So.
Yeah. Are you excited about this ceremony, the movies that have been nominated this year, Maz?
Just to go off what you guys say in terms of the show, like it's gonna be interesting to see like how they still try to keep it comedic, because they always try to have a host who brings it and adds some levity to the situation. So I don't know how they're gonna do sketches and whatever. Overall, though, I think this is like a weird year for the Academy and movies in general, because so the things I want to bring up are like, there was I don't know if you guys follow this, but there was a brief moment when they had thought about and proposed creating a genre award for like superhero and horror and a lot of comedic movies. And there was a lot of backlash to that. And they kind of, we're going to maybe do it next year or the year after that. But people were kind of, hey, is this going to be the Black Panther category? Because they didn't want to give Black Panther necessarily a nomination in the quote-unquote best picture, because it's a very prestige, very Oscar baity category in general.
Right. Absolutely. How do you feel about that? Would you want those segmented genre films? Like I understand like the thinking of like
Same thing with like they bunch musical and comedy in the same category.
In the Golden Globes.
Yeah, and that needs to be separated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, remember when The Martian was considered a musical and
right, exactly.
That was ridiculous. Like he was in dire states. Like it was a good time on Mars. Like shit was difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Nicole. In regards to what you're saying about like, does it even matter?
You're like, yes.
I do think like it is nice to be acknowledged. If you're like if you're these people who are like in these films or these creators, these writers, these directors, it is like a way to be acknowledged.
Right.
And I don't know how you get to be part of the Academy, but a lot of like the Academy is like your fellow people who are working with you, like in the industry, like other writers and directors.
So actually, I want to interject there because I there was a tweet going around that I liked about the Academy and that goes to this point. So let me give you the percentage breakdown of the Academy.
Okay.
It is. Let me just find my Twitter here. You guys can still hear me, right?
We can hear you.
I want to make sure I'm not. Okay, so the Oscar 2019, 94% of the Academy is white, 77% are men, 2% are black, 2% are Latino, and less than 0.5% are Asian and Native American combined.
Wow. Yeah.
And the reason is because, like your Sharon's point about how do you get to be in the Academy, it's people, past winners, you're automatically inducted. And then if you have to be like, there's like an invitation system where a current member, gives you an invitation. And recently, with the Oscars So White campaign of a couple of years ago, they made a big push to go younger, more diverse, and all that. But it's still like the United States Senate is probably more representative. So
it's crazy. Like thinking of those numbers, like that's not representative of the acting community of like the overall population. So it is problematic, and you're not gonna see as diverse offerings there. Like, sorry to bother you. Should have been.
Oh
nominated.
yes.
It's.
I mean, that's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it is what it is. It's racist. But I appreciate what you're saying, Karen, about like one of the things that make me so emotional is seeing these actors accept their awards, and I don't want to take away that win for them. I just don't want people who haven't been nominated or have been nominated and didn't win the award to feel like their work is any less because a majority of the Academy didn't agree that they were the best performance of the year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
Go ahead. Sorry. Oh, I was going to say is like, and it's like I feel similarly kind of conflicted too because on the one hand, the Academy and the Oscars, just like any other thing in society, is structurally problematic. But I still love it because of the spectacle, because of it's like a good way to, it's like a good excuse to do what we're doing right now, which is the year in film and how was it, how's it evolved, how has it changed, and what's good and bad about it. So you can't put too much stock in it, but it's a good time to reflect, and that's why I like it.
It's so true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's definitely like a deep reverence for film at the Academy Awards, which is why it's my favorite award show. It takes itself very seriously.
It does,
but
I
love
do like
it.
that.
Yeah.
I do like that. I can't lie. I love the red carpet. I love all the fashion, and I do love that it feels like people are being coronated.
Yeah.
It's really exciting, and I'm into the pomp and circumstance. It's just, I'm waiting for my turn. I just want to be on the red carpet.
You'll get there, girl.
Yeah, somehow.
I love the movie montages that they have at the Academy Awards. It makes me really emotional.
It reminds me of the Great Movie Ride at Disney World. Yeah.
Or the year in memory with the people that passed away.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's another.
I every time I'm like, oh, they died. I forgot about them. That happened early last year. Like always, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, and with the really big names, they always do like a couple of their biggest scenes.
Yes.
And you're like, they did this, and I love that. It's well done.
I love that as an audience member. It makes me very uncomfortable when some people get applause, over others, and I'm like, damn, like,
some people, they know that
exactly.
And then you have this actor, and everyone's like, woo! I get it. Like, this person is more well known,
right?
Has had like a more impactful career, I guess. But it makes me very uncomfortable.
It's like graduation where one person is getting
so
all the applause. It's like, who the popular kid was.
We're like applauding whose life is more successful. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's dark. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we talked about that. Let's go into our best supporting actor picks. Who do we think should win best supporting actor? Mez, you can go first.
Okay. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out. I'm really happy that Sam Elliott got nominated. Sam Elliott is one of the character actors working. He's in so many good movies, from the 90s on. And he has such a distinctive look and a distinctive voice that really, just creates a memorable performance no matter what role he's in. So, I'm not as big on like A Star Is Born as other people, but I love his performance. It was the relationship as brothers and the complexity of that, and it was. And Samuel a lot of times is kind of like a cartoon character, but they actually made him into a real character that he was playing. One with like mixed emotions about their father's legacy and their ranch and growing up and having to take care of his little brother who was kind of a screw up in a lot of ways. So, that's a great performance. But I would have to give it to Mahershala Ali because that movie's I think redeeming quality is his performance, because I think that movie is very paint by numbers. Him, because he doesn't overpower his performance. It's very subtle. It's about that character's quiet dignity in the face of all types of discrimination and a lot of times humiliation.
Right.
Like that scene where he gets caught in like I think it's like in Mississippi or Georgia where he has a gay hookup with a white guy and they're in the naked, and then he goes from that kind of quiet and then like argues against his driver Tony the Lip, saying like I still have to maintain my dignity, and it's very subtle. It's not, he doesn't even really raise his voice that much throughout the movie.
No,
but you still feel that quiet intensity.
It was a very layered character. I really enjoyed all the ways that he portrayed his high level of understanding his identity, knowing that he was a gifted talent. He just portrayed that in very subtle ways. I love the scene of him being out at this hotel, and it's a colored hotel. And most of the people that are hanging out in the outdoor area look like day laborers, and they're playing games. And he's just drinking his bottle of whiskey with a suit on, cross-legged. And you can tell like these people have nothing to do with each other apart from their blackness. And the people come over to him saying like, hey, you going to play games with us, or are you too bougie for us? And he visibly gets very uncomfortable, but in a way that I'm like, I could so relate to that experience of feeling like you're not black enough for the black people that you see around you, and not accepted in white circles as well, just feeling like there isn't really a home for you. I just loved this character because I don't feel like I've seen a character like him before. And I do agree with you that I think it raised the bar for this film, because otherwise I think this film would have been another The Help.
Yes. Yes.
I don't need another movie like that. Like,
which also won a lot of awards.
It did, because it's a very comfortable way of viewing racism, of like, let's look at it as something as if we're like above it. Like, this is the past and we've moved forward on these issues, and look, it's just about like making relationships with white people. If you are very patient with them, then you can educate them. But it seems
fun fact.
Sorry, go ahead.
Fun fact: Octavia Spencer is a producer of this movie. So.
Right. I did notice that. And I love her, but I feel like she does have that like Oprah view of racism of like, let's just understand each other, like just be open-minded, and we'll get past it. Do you think he's gonna win?
I've been from what I've seen in like the like prediction markets, he's won enough of the other awards in the lead up to this, which I think he's going to win. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Erin?
I did not see Green Book for that reason. I know I will eventually. I do have a respect for all films, but it was not on my priority. I loved that you brought up Sam Elliott, Mez, because I think I'm just so happy that he's getting recognition. For A Star Is Born, Bradley Cooper's character is based off of Sam Elliott, and his voice was inspired by Sam Elliott too. So I love that Sam Elliott is getting recognition. I personally love Adam Driver in BlacKkKlansman, so if I could pick someone, it would be Adam Driver. But I know that it will go to Mahershala Ali for Green Book.
Okay. Did you see BlacKkKlansman, Mez?
Yes, I saw it today actually. In the lead, and I love it. I think it's Spike Lee's best movie in like since the 25th Hour, and it's a great performance. I think John David Washington and Adam Driver are amazing. And I forgot her name. She's also in like Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
The character
Patrice.
Yeah, she's great in that. Also, I did not like. So I knew the movie a little, like the premise. I didn't know David Duke was going to be in that movie. I was like, what?
Yes.
Like, it's a great movie. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Adam Driver does a great job. He's a great actor in general. So I'm not surprised by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked Adam Driver's performance in that film. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick him out of the rest of the cast because I feel like, I don't know. It was a very level. Like I feel like everyone was equally contributing, and I think most of the work, honestly, was happening from Spike Lee, which is generally the case with his films. I feel like he's doing a lot of work by like doing a lot of symbolism and putting clips of images together. That's how I feel like the story becomes more emotionally tying to me. But I appreciated his performance, but I wasn't like, like I'm just like making noises and like I just need to feel like more. I just need to feel more me.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It was good. Let's move on to the next category: Best Supporting Actress. Karen, you want to go first?
I think Regina King will get it.
Okay.
But I believe Marina de Tavira from Roma should get it.
Okay.
That's an interesting take.
She has she doesn't speak a lot in the film, but she delivers so much like complexity and like a huge range of emotions with her character. Yeah, I just loved that character. And I think, yeah.
I also loved her. I thought she was awesome. Yeah, she doesn't say very much, but with her facial expressions, with the few words she does say, they're so effective without saying very much. I love this film, honestly. Like the women characters are really, really interesting. Did you see Roma, Mez?
Roma, well, I don't want to spoil too much. Roma, I think, is the best movie of the year by far. It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
The only reason I think it's a lot of people have been giving a lot of love to the main character, but it's interesting you guys are saying that the woman who I believe the character's name is Sophie, right?
Yes.
Yes. Is because she doesn't speak that much, and it's very hard. I was thinking as I was watching the movie to judge performance in a language that you're not like very knowledgeable. It's not a native language to you, because a lot of how you judge someone's performance is the subtleties in how they speak, and sometimes you lose that in translation. But since this movie is such a tour de force around how it's shot, the fact that she doesn't need to speak that much to carry that.
Right.
Oh, I agree. The choices that they make in this film, I feel like I just felt devastated. Like everything that they did, they took my heart and just like split it into pieces. It was just so beautiful.
Yeah, you see these women like go through a journey, and it's not because of like the writing or the words. You know what I mean? You see so much of their growth throughout the film in dealing with all these issues. No one has like this heartbreaking monologue to show, which is what a lot of actors usually get, the ones that are nominated for their performances. It's usually like because they have like some huge grand monologue that they can really act out. But it's so subtle. Like both of these actresses were very subtle and very effective.
I appreciate that too. Mez, so who's your pick for Best Supporting Actress?
Oh, so just before I go to that, I just want to say one more thing about Roma. Yeah. That's just because her performance is amazing, because she's probably one of the most, like, every character is so human. When I first started watching, I thought she was going to be like the stereotypical, like, mean boss.
Yeah, same.
Perfect. But she's not. She's flawed, very selfish and self-centered. But she has a good heart, especially that scene where, like, oh, you're pregnant, let me take you to the hospital, and like no questions asked, and then you kind of wonder, like, towards the end, because even though she's a pretty okay, like very flawed but good person, structurally she's still dominating over her servant because she still made her work,
right?
Even though she's pregnant, and once you see the ending, you can't help but think that did that contribute to the miscarriage and all that stuff. So it's just it kind of left me feeling so complicated. But because of her performance being so good, it hits you and gives you all these different reactions. With that being said, though, I think it's Regina King. I love If Beale Street Could Talk. That she's not in the movie that much, but when she's there, it's amazing. And when the movie focuses on her when she travels to Puerto Rico, just her breaking down and her, her character doesn't really she stays strong throughout it, but when she feels like she's has lost and is just crying, you just kind of feel it, and it really hit me hard.
That's real. I am a bad black person today because I did not watch If Beale Street Could Talk. We tried weekend after weekend to make it work, but there wasn't a lot of theaters that were showing it out here.
Yeah.
And
it's very true.
And we're very specific about, recliner support and dine-in options.
But also, oh my God, I hate you. But also, it's not accessible. There's a lot of the nominated movies are very accessible right now, streaming services, or you could rent for $5.
That's right.
You can't rent If Beale Street Could Talk right now. It's $15 to buy on iTunes. That's the only way you can watch it right now.
What were you gonna say, Maz?
I'm saying, I didn't realize it was still for $15. That's ridiculous. So you can just go, that hurts accessibility. So I
agreed. I wish I could have rented it. I would have bought it actually. Yeah. That I didn't realize it was available for purchase. I would have done it, honestly, because I bought Green Book. I was trying to be committed.
I could be wrong. It might not even be available for purchase. I think it said available for purchase March 1st.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's it, too.
Okay.
Which is sad.
But that's a good comment. I agree. Just...
Why is it not accessible,
Yeah.
No.
Streaming companies, tell me what's going on. All right, let's talk about... Best Animated Feature. I'll go first. I loved Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I was surprised by how much I love this film, honestly. Yeah. When I heard that this was coming, I was like, another Spider-Man movie? But then I heard that it was going to be Miles Morales, and I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I have been wanting a Black Spider-Man for a while. And the way that they used animation in this film is so innovative. I think it should win for Best Animated Film because the way that they are able to depict this story with the different styles of animation, pulling different Spider-Mans from different universes and then using that different animation to distinguish them, I thought was really interesting. It's such a dynamic film. I was really at the edge of my seat from beginning to end. It was so interesting.
Yeah, the marriage of the music's great. Mm-hmm. And the animation makes me feel like I'm on the ride.
Yeah.
It's so, I think it should win. I hope it wins, but I wouldn't be surprised if Incredibles 2 also took home the award. But I think Spider-Verse should win.
I mean, if it's going to be any other movie but Spider-Man, I would say Ralph Breaks the Internet, actually. I really like that film. You're just making a face at me. Did you see it?
I did see it.
And you say wah wah.
Yeah.
Okay, Mez, please tell me that you've seen both of these films so you can break the tie.
So I have not seen Ralph Breaks the Internet yet. I've seen of this nominated category. I've seen Incredibles 2, Spider-Man, and Isle of Dogs. I was actually going to bring up my love for Isle of Dogs, but I'll let you guys.
Okay, talk about it.
Oh no, Isle of Dogs is just I love that stop motion animation. Mm-hmm. It's such a weird and unique movie. It's about it's in Japan, but it takes place with the dogs and their kind of society and how humans are they live apart from humans. I just enjoyed it because it was very whimsical in that stop motion kind of way. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the hell out of the amount of effort it takes to do that. But in terms of what I think should win, I think it's Spider-Man because I actually think Spider-Man is the best superhero movie of the year, and that includes Avengers and Black Panther.
Wow! Whoa! Yes, I can see where you're going with that. I really liked Black Panther, but when you put Spider-Verse against it, I'm like, I might go with Spider-Verse.
one scene I want to highlight is, and I think for an animated movie, it really like you make the most of the medium. And I saw this on Twitter, which is why I want to repeat it. Is the scene where Miles Morales finally starts controlling his powers, and he's like kind of swinging down, but then they flip the camera, and so he's actually rising.
Yeah.
Symbolism, the art, the colors, like I love it.
Yeah, it was so cool. I love their choices.
Just thinking about it right now.
Oh, I want to go watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you bring up it being better than Black Panther. I did love Black Panther. The only thing that like didn't sell it to me was the graphics, like that fight scene between Michael B. Jordan's character and the main character was like. It was just so poorly executed to me. I don't know. It just looked like a lot of cheap CGI. But, yeah. So.
The last scene with the trade and stuff?
Yeah. I hated it. And I hated that was, like, the demise of that character. Like, it just felt, like, so short-lived and, like, I don't know.
That's interesting. It kind of reminded me of the last scene with Harry Potter and Voldemort, where it was a lot of like, their faces changing to each other, and like hard to make that scene between two people so epic.
Yeah, no, it's very true. But in Black Panther, like you have two other fight scenes, you have many other fight scenes that are like incredible and like beautiful. You know what I mean? But like the main one between the protagonist and the antagonist are like the least exhilarating.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was exhilarated, but whatever. I mean, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, you're right.
They were also fighting a battle outside with rhinoceroses. What more do you want, Karen?
I loved that part.
Okay.
Yeah. Best director. Mez, what do you think?
I think it should be Alfonso Cuarón. I think that movie works because of his camera placement, his shot selection. I think it was actually kind of funny because from the moment the movie starts and the title sequence is on the floor of their garage and she's cleaning, and every time she throws water, another title card appears. I was like, from the beginning, it's brilliantly amazing.
Yeah. So much detail, yes. And a couple of shots I want to highlight are after she has her miscarriage, she's sitting alone, and the camera's not she's not the center of the camera. She's kind of to the side, and then you see towards her left all the baby clothes and like things that she had bought, and it's just her depressed in this quiet, sad room, and there's no words spoken. Just that scene with the focus on the baby items, and it was amazing. He has an amazing eye. In his previous movies, Birdman and The Revenant, it's weird because I really want to give it to Spike Lee because I love Spike Lee and this is his best work. And Cuarón has already won twice. I feel like he's won too much. Too good.
He's too good.
Who do you think you are? No, I feel you though. Honestly, man, when I wrote it down, I said either Alfonso Cuarón or Spike Lee. They're both so distinctive in their styles. It's very easy to pick those films out. I know a Spike Lee film when I see it. I know a Cuarón film when I see it. But man, like Roma, it killed me. It was so beautiful. Like I just felt so deeply affected by these characters. And the choices that he made I feel so distinctive. It's hard for me as a person who doesn't make film to decide okay, who is the best director apart from me just choosing my favorite movie. But I feel like with these films, I know why certain scenes were focused on. I know why they made their choices. It's just more apparent in their style. I just love the symbolism in Roma, and it's his most autobiographical film to date, according to Alfonso Cuarón. He said that the main character in the movie is based off a maid that worked in his home, and like when I read all these things about it, it made so much sense because it just felt like someone had written in a diary, a visual diary of their life. I felt so personally affected by the plights of these characters. But Spike Lee, man, like, ooh, I mean, I feel like he will win because the Oscars likes to try to like look fair, and they also look back at times where they should have awarded
yes.
a best director to someone, and he got snubbed for Do the Right Thing. So I feel like they might want to correct that now, like similar to what they did with, what's that, with The Departed. Who's the director for that?
Oh, Scorsese.
Yes, like they, snubbed him in the past, so they gave it for The Departed, which I hate. But but whatever. So what do you think, Karen?
I would like to see Yorgos Lanthimos take the award home. I loved The Favorite. There's a lot of... It's a story led by female characters, driven by... through like a female lens, and I think Yorgos Lanthimos does a great job of executing that, like letting the women take the lead. It's clearly, through... it's very centered around a woman's perspective, and I think that was... I appreciated that, being a male. And I also love how he made this film look like it was supposed to be something that it wasn't. I feel like he tricked a lot of people into, like, thinking that this was going to be a period, like a drama.
Put your pinky up
right.
with the T, like, just very classy.
Yeah.
Not seeing the dirtier sides
right.
of humanity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then he tricked us all, and it's like it's actually a very nasty story, and like these people were going through tough times, and it was ugly. It was an ugly time, and so I would like to see him take it home. I think he will too.
Did you see The Favorite, Mez?
No, that is one of the movies I've not watched. I was really trying to watch it. Just timing did not happen. I am very excited to see it, though. I think I've heard great things about it, about the direction and the writing and the performances by Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Weiss. I'm definitely going to watch it as soon as possible. But the interesting thing is what you said about what Karen's point about it being more of a modern movie, more it's not the high period drama, because it came out the same year as Mary Queen of Scots, and I think the fact that The Favorite is getting more love is a very interesting piece on what we are now wanting from these period movies. So
yeah. I don't want to ruin anything for you, but there is a scene, between two women, and it wasn't done in a tasteless way, which I think usually comes from a male's perspective. Like if they're directing a scene between two women who are sexual together, it kind of becomes like overly sexualized, but this is very sensual. It was very real for me.
That's a good point.
I think it was very
I remember
go ahead, Bez.
I was gonna say I just remember a couple years ago, Blue is the Warmest Color had similar controversy because it has another male director who people felt was too relying on the male gaze. So it's interesting that
that film is basically pornography. I didn't finish it. I mean, beautiful women, but come on. Like I just like to see, sex aids and showing some intimacy between two characters. In this film, I think it shows that they've crossed a line of comfort and success for Emma Stone's character to be able to be this close to the Queen and be able to find a way to manipulate her after she is able to get this intimate with the character. So it really aids in progressing the story. And I love this film. Honestly, it was really, really good. I don't know if he's going to win it for Best Director because it's a weird film. It's very, very strange. I would be excited, actually, if he won, because I would think the Academy has gotten a little more innovative in its choices. But this is a good list of directors, honestly.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But the one elephant in the room, though, and it's because you guys mentioned women in film, is that this is another year where no female directors got nominated.
Correct.
And Hollywood, the Academy, Hollywood in general, there's a huge debate about this, but it is kind of still remarkable that we've actually made, I think, in my opinion, we're not there yet, but good strides on people of color and more diversity in who's in front of the camera, but behind the camera is still a limited pool of people.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The director of Can You Ever Forgive Me is a female. Unfortunately, I don't have her name, but she was snubbed, I believe, because that's a great film. And it has gotten nominations, but just not for Best Director.
Interesting. Yeah. I didn't see it, so I can't comment on that. But yeah, the Academy has a ways to go, and I think it's just it speaks to the industry as a whole. I think it's hard for women directors to make it in this industry.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was gonna mention I don't remember her name, but she did. I believe she did the sound mixing for Black Panther. It was the first Black woman to be nominated for that. So it just seems like very slow, incremental change in the way of the Green Book. It's like we're making our little networking in the film industry, and maybe eventually we'll see more awards, given to more people of color. But they're trying, right?
Yeah,
they're trying, guys.
Yeah.
They're trying so hard.
And the thing about directing more than any other of the film professions is like it's such a boys' club because the way these directors all came up is he was friends with me, I mentored him, and I think it's actually really good that you mentioned Black Panther because Ryan Coogler is he's a guy and he's made it, but he actually does mentor people of a diverse array than his peers, which is what needs to happen.
And I love Ryan Coogler. He should have won for Fruitvale Station.
Yeah.
Talk about snubbed. That was the best film of that year. I think that was 2014. Get out of here.
I don't even know what won that year.
I don't know. I don't care. It should have. Fruitvale Station was robbed. Best film, best director. But yeah, like again with giving Black Panther best film and not giving best director.
Yes.
I mean, like how do you think the film was made? Like who do you think is doing this work? I'm just confused. Yeah. I understand why they did it for Bryan Singer, but not for him. Anyway, best actor. I think that this is a not so great category.
Interesting.
My favorite was Rami Malek, and I feel bad about my choice only because I look back at the past of like Best Actor, Best Actress wins, and I see that they usually give it to people who've made some dramatic physical change, gaining, losing weight, putting on a nose, and in this case, is putting on some teeth. But he was very, very convincing as Freddie Mercury, and who doesn't love Freddie Mercury? It's just a very likable performance, but it gives me that same feeling of like Jamie Foxx. It's just we like the music. It's a nice story, but are we going to be like talking and sitting about it 30 years later and saying like it was one of the best things that I've seen? I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it was that consequential, but. Yeah, that's just me. I think he's probably going to win.
I would agree. Sorry, go ahead,
no,
Karen.
No, go ahead, Mez, please.
You all were waiting for each other to speak.
Go.
I was like, who's going to talk? Like, you're just staring each other down, phone against Karen.
Go ahead, Mez, please.
Oh, is that Nicole? You saying that this is probably the weakest category? And I was like, at first I was like, what? But then I look at it and I think, what? I think you're right. The movies that are nominated are in this category: Vice, A Star Is Born. I haven't seen Eternity's Gate, but Bohemian Rhapsody and Green Book. It's like they're good, but they're not like transcendent,
right?
And I think you just give it to the person that's kind of a consensus pick that doesn't really anger anyone, and that's Rami Malek.
Yeah,
because. You mentioned Jamie Foxx. Another person is Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash. It's
right.
We like that person. We like it, and it's competently done. And Rami Malek has a very charismatic and very in tune performance as Freddie Mercury. So yeah, I mean, like I feel weird because of Bryan Singer's allegations,
right?
But Rami Malek does do a great job. So I think that's this is actually probably the first year I remember where the female characters are given more to work with than the male nominees.
I agree. And I mean, that says something about the film industry. I feel like they're seeing that women are coming out for films where there are very interesting dynamic characters, when it's not just like, I'm the wife, I'm the supportive person in this person's life. Like, they're giving actors something to work with, and I appreciate that. It made it for a very interesting film for women. I stand by saying that this is like the weakest category, but I don't know. What do you think, Karen?
Well, I definitely think this has been a year of some of the strongest female leads. We are seeing, like, in film that like a lot of strong women followed by weak men, or like next to a weak men. It's like a trend that's happening in the stories that we're seeing. A Star is Born, The Wife. I think that it should go to Bradley Cooper.
Okay.
I loved Bradley Cooper, and I'm actually surprised that Bradley Cooper was not nominated for Best Director. This is his first, this is his directorial debut, and I just thought he did an excellent job of directing, acting, singing. He broke my heart, and I've seen the other Stars Borns, and he gave this character like a more humanistic nature, or like I just felt more for this character as opposed to the other men who have played this man.
I would have to agree, honestly, because I saw the one with Barbara Streisand, and he just seemed like, well, I mean, he was definitely always drunk, but there wasn't a lot to make me feel that he really cared about, I don't remember her name, but Barbara Streisand's character. Yeah. It just seemed like he was just very centrally motivated by his addiction, and just feeling like she offered some refuge, but I don't feel like he showed all the layers of tender love between them. I feel like this film was very good at showing that, and it was much more interesting in showing the plight of a person trying to make it in the music industry. I loved the director's choices in being on stage with all of the lights. I felt like I was there with them. It was a lot of movement and excitement, and I appreciate his choices versus the choices of the director of The Last Star is Born. So I agree with you. I think he was snubbed. He should have been at least nominated. I don't know about Best Actor, though.
I think Rami Malek will win, and I'm not upset with that choice, because I thought he did a great job, and I feel like it is hard to live up to Freddie Mercury's shoes, but it was very believable, and
he did a good job. He should be proud of himself. What were you going to say, Mez?
So I guess I'm the dissenter in the group. I did not love A Star is Born. I don't know. I wanted her to love it more, and I actually watched the Barbara Streisand movie after I watched it, and the feeling I just can't help is like, it's a great movie, but it's also a very like, there's an archetype there, and like you can just follow it. And I'm much more of a fan for, like, during a war season, for like those weird, quirky, experimental movies, which like, for example, Favorite or Roma are more like, it seems that The Favorite is one of those, and then Roma's another one like that, where like it's, you're experimenting with stories that have not been told in a way of storytelling that has not really been seen as much. And I just feel like with like Bradley Cooper, I think he was smart to pick a project as his first directorial debut that is, a movie that has had predecessors before, and I think it's well done. It didn't like, it wasn't, I wasn't over the top in love with it. I thought Lady Gaga, I agree with all the praise, because she's a great performance, great voice, but Bradley Cooper and his actings and his directing, I thought they were just really okay and well done. I'm not sure if it should have been nominated necessarily, especially when I was looking at the directors nominated, and I haven't seen, is it the director for? I haven't seen The Favorite yet, but based on what you're saying, it's hard for me to kick someone out.
That's fair.
Of course,
that's fair.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Cold War or Vice.
I haven't seen Cold War either. Yeah.
So disclaimer, but I don't know if I would be comfortable taking anyone out to replace him. I just want to, claps to Bradley Cooper for his first film. David also agreed with you, Mez, when we watched it together. I mean, it took a really long time for him to watch it, first of all. He was just like, I'm not interested. It seemed like, a nod to the past, and Dave doesn't like to, say hello to the past. He's like, I wasn't accepted there. Bye-bye. Like, I'm not trying to, like, honor the same sort of movie. I want to push forward. So he just felt like, if we're going to do another Stars Born, why can't we do it in hip hop or something, and like a music style that he cares about more? He just felt like it was a lot of fanfare and excitement about music style that he doesn't really appreciate. But I get like why people would love this movie. I wasn't obsessed with you like you, Mez. I think it was because I saw it long after a lot of people saw it. So there was a huge expectation built by that point. But I did enjoy the film very much.
Yeah. I don't want to say it. I think it's a good movie. It's more just like when we're splitting hairs for nominations and awards. That's all I really was.
That's fair.
It is a really well done movie. Yeah.
No, I agree. That's a fair point. Let's go to Best Actress. Bez, who do you think?
Okay, so Best Actress. My computer just had to restart, so let me just open the doc on my phone.
Okay.
So if one of you guys want to go ahead, then
Karen, you can go.
Well, I think everyone in this category should win. I think
everyone gets an award. Are you gonna break it like Mean Girls?
I really wish. Because I loved every single performance. Again, I think we still have a lot to learn, but I do think that we are, like, the movies that are coming out are a reflection of the times and, like, of, like, the things that people's voices are being heard more, and different stories are being told, different perspectives. And I just feel like every woman in this category, like,
just brought it.
Yeah, they broke my heart. Every single one of them, like, broke my heart. Again, it's like a lot of strong women, but like with such severe complexities and like so many layers, and it was so beautiful. I think Glenn Close should win. I think Glenn Close will win. It's very upsetting that it's taken 7 nominations for her to win. But I'm glad that it's for The Wife. I think The Wife, a lot of people are saying that The Wife is not good, but her performance alone is worth it. I think it's a great film. And I think, she's just so subtle in this role. She's so mysterious. She's so stoic. And I'm happy for her nomination.
Wow.
And I'm happy that she will win. I'm like 100% confident.
She's been getting a lot of like the awards beforehand. She won the Golden Globe. It looks like the sure favorite. Unfortunately, I was not able to see The Wife. I'll have to see it after the Oscars, but really excited for Glenn Close. She deserves all the nominations. I mean, she's been getting them and still hasn't won.
Yeah. But I love Olivia Colman, too. Her performance comes a close second for me.
Okay. Yeah. For me, Yalitza Aparicio.
Oh, so beautiful.
I mean, there was just such a quiet, strong person behind those eyes. I felt like I was getting to know someone very real. The way that she just took a lot of things that were not under her control. She just held on to, she felt like such a stable person. I'm like, okay, like an unplanned pregnancy, the lover of hers leaving her and not treating her with respect, her employer not treating her with respect. There were so many situations that could have broke a person, and she was so strong. But you could see how it would take away from her. Like, you could see how all these little slights were taking at her character. And finally she broke down, and I just felt her break so much. But there were people around her to catch her. And I just like, it felt so moving because, like, you know, there's so much that we can't control in our lives. But the idea that we can have people in our corner that are going to make us feel loved, and you just need a lead on that support. I don't know. I loved her performance. It was so, so beautiful. I think Glenn Close will probably win, but I loved it so much. How about you, Mez?
So I noticed that Glenn Close has been getting winning a lot of the pre-awards, and I think a lot of people are saying she's the favorite, but I agree with you, Nicole. I think it should be Yalitza Aparicio, because she's in her mid-20s. This is her first movie, and that movie, if she was a bad actress, that can't work, because she is the main focus, and
right.
She doesn't she doesn't say much, and every time she does speak is a very, quiet and deliberate manner of speaking, but it conveys so much. It's like a weird thing. It conveys her inner strength, at the ability to take so much like of life's challenge, of her situation, her class, the man, the guy who was the baby's father, who leaves her, her working conditions, but she still goes forward through it all. But at the same time, you also kind of see like, this is her role in life, and it's not fair, and she was born into it, and she didn't ask to be it, and she can't really challenge her role, so she has to just continue.
Yeah.
And you get that complexity of like strength, but also being beaten down at the same time. And alongside the way the movie is shot, you get to see her facial expressions, her quiet, strength as she goes along with all this.
Yeah.
And also the fact that she's like kudos to Cuarón and the producers for finding her, because there's a lot of talented people who don't get their chance because they come from parts of the world that are neglected, and
Agreed.
For the fact she's an indigenous woman from Mexico, and not she's not white. It's all. I think she should win. So yeah, great all around.
Yeah, a great job to the casting director in this film for choosing her, and agreed. Like it's difficult to find. I mean, it's not difficult, but I think like people don't make enough of an effort to find characters that are specifically of a certain region, and I think it was important for this to feel genuine, to have an actor who understood the indigenous experience. That was so much about what the movie was about, like that conflict between indigenous peoples in Mexico and the more colonial or more affluent forces in Mexico trying to take away lands. It was so beautiful. I love this film. I know not everyone loves it because it can be depressing. There's like some parts of the film that visually are very jarring, but yeah, it's crazy. Let's move on to Best Picture because we're running out of time, guys. We had so much to talk about. I'm gonna say my favorite film, and it was so hard to choose because there's so many great films here, but my favorite was Roma because it stayed with me long after the credits rolled. These characters just were in my head. I just felt like, how are they doing? I want to check up on them.
That's cute.
It was really, it was so loving. You could tell that this was a work of love. He cared so deeply about making these characters feel real, and Cuarón did a crazy, amazing job. I would be very happy if Roma won, and man, Netflix would be even happier. So, what do you think, Maz?
100% agree with you. Roma is the best movie of the year, especially of the nominated movies. There was a couple other movies I would have nominated, like Hereditary and all that stuff. But of this one, Roma's amazing. Best direction, I think. Best performance, and most like just a unique story that's very personal. A great blend of like a quiet, personal story, but also of the political turmoil in like 1970 Mexico. And also it's about people that we forget because they're poor, they're our servants, or they're a racial group that's marginalized, and the focus is always on the person who in other movies gets forgotten. And I don't know if we're gonna go to the part where we say which movie we think will win, but Roma should win.
Okay.
I mean, damn, he sold me on Roma. Like I wrote that I thought the favorite should win. I mean, but I also wrote that Roma should also win. Roma is just like a perfect film.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, I mean, the favorite, I guess I just enjoyed more just because I loved how weird it was and like unique it was as a film. And I felt like it really pushed boundaries for filmmaking and storytelling and acting. My most enjoyable film of the year is BlacKkKlansman. And most personal, Star is Born. But I feel like as far as like if we're like it is hard to say like what the best film is. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's between The Favorite and Roma. I can't decide, and I can't even like figure out which one will win because I feel like it's either or at this point.
I mean, that's fair. There's just so many ways to judge these films. And agreed, if I wanted to parse it down, I could be like, oh, the film that was like a light, fun time was Bohemian Rhapsody. The film that made me like really like Mahershala Ali even more was Green Book. You know, it's just, there's so many ways to judge these films. But guys, I loved having you all here to talk about it together. Our little movie buff family. We're doing a hug with you, Mez.
Oh yeah, I'm there. I'm there in spirit.
You need to come to New York and be on the show. Like you need to come to New York so you can be on the show again.
We would love to have you back.
Yes, I will definitely. Yes, I definitely want to do that. That'd be great.
He's very busy. Like, he didn't talk about his professional life because, you know, we don't want to get into that. But he's very, very important.
Oh. Well, thank you for stopping by.
Look at his face.
We're so humbled.
Yes, thank you so much. Follow us on Cinema Therapy Show on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. And listen to us in 2 weeks. Taking a 2-week hiatus.
2 weeks. Shout out to Jay Zabrick.
Thanks
you, Jade.
for
having us. Thank you,
Jade.
Mez. Enjoy the Oscars tonight.
Yes, Oscars tonight. Go watch. Enjoy. Bye, everyone.
Bye.